Hey everybody, I'm on the final leg of a long journey here, and I thought I would share some thoughts that have strangely enough popped into my mind when I'm walking sometimes, is when the brain just starts doing its thing and going places that I had never previously gone, with or without my consent. In this case, I think my brain, on its little free fall expedition, actually unearthed some things that I want to share with y'all. These seem like pretty perceptive things if my brain does say so itself. And these are things I've never really even given much thought to. But so I'm thinking about, of course, the male loneliness epidemic, because of course I am. Of course I am. And then I think about a phenomenon like Beatlemania and how girls just went crazy. Of course, I don't have to tell you. I don't have to. I mean, you've all seen it. You've all seen the footage. In some circles, in conspiracy circles, such as the ones that I run in, there are questions about to what extent were the Beatles an organic phenomenon, to what extent were they something that was created wholesale by Tavistock, to change the culture, to libertinize the culture, to usher in hippiedom and all that. And I do think a lot of hippiedom is definitely what's the word? Artificially astroturfed. There you go, astroturfed. A lot of hippie culture is astroturfed. No doubt. I have read the book about the canyons, but anyway, and I also read the book about the God, like the simplest, what should be the most accessible things, names, escape my mind. Charles Manson, Manson and his followers and all that. Clearly, some sussy stuff was happening there. If you read certain books that highlight certain things that you're not exposed to in the official account. But here's what I wanted to talk about. Here's what my brain was sharing with me. I thought to myself, okay, what if the Beatles never existed? They were never a band. I mean, I say there's another band that did the same thing culturally that the Beatles did, and we still, have the culture we have today, except there were no Beatles. And what if John, Paul, Ringo, and George were all like Zoomers living today? They were all like, between the ages of 23 and 26, but they just had regular jobs. Maybe they, played in a band on the weekends occasionally, in a cover band or something. But anyway, they were not the Beatles of legend. Okay, so I'm asking you to imagine the four Beatles, the age that they were when they were the most famous people in the world, which was, in the mid 60s, and they were really, really young. They were in their like mid 20s. But imagine them without the fanfare, without the, it's the Beatles. Oh my God, it's Paul McCartney. Any of that. They're just normal guys. Like, how would they fare on Tinder? Oh, what are my hobbies? Let's see. That's my imitation of I guess, John. I don't know. Trying to come up with a Tinder profile. Do you think that looking like they did, looking like, and like they would look, because again, I'm asking you to imagine them living today as Zoomers, but still being who they are. Do you think they would get any play on Tinder? I don't. I mean, like they said, they say Paul's the cute one. Maybe, I guess he's cute. I guess he's sort of cute. But I just don't. I don't know. Like that made when I thought about that sort of made everything seem really strange about Beatlemania, because they were I guess charming and like they're sort of insouciant, and they did their little harmonies and stuff, and they grinned impishly, and they had their little hairdos, and they wore their suits and stuff. So something about all that, and the music, and the singing about love and all that just made girls in the West just lose their minds and their panties. but they're not. I mean, the Beatles were not like studs. Like compared, and then my brain went here. Compared to Elvis in his prime, I know he did not age well. And that's very sad. It's very, very sad what happened to him. I've always found it to be quite tragic. But in his prime, that man was, he was made of sex. If Elvis got on Tinder, he'd be setting him up and knocking him down. You're like, DTF. Yeah, DTF, mama. I'll be there in an hour. Thank you very much. And he'd be like, he had it. He had the looks. He wasn't like cute and charming, like, and probably wasn't as bright as the Beatles were. Not as clever and everything, but as far as just raw sex appeal, like he had it in spades. So it's not really that surprising. Elvis mania is not really that surprising. Next to but Beatlemania, when you think of it this way, it really is quite It lends, to me, it lends more credence to the notion that there's some hidden hand was manipulating things, getting girls to like a different type of man. I don't know, to be attracted to a different sort of guy. Just because, again, maybe the cute one, maybe Paul the cute one would do all right. But I don't see any of them pulling, as they say, pulling much on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge or wherever. and yet they were, I mean, especially Ringo. Ringo's pretty goofy looking. I know he was funny. I know he was charming. He maybe made his goofy looks into a sort of asset. I mean, they were probably all, you know, they probably all had good quote unquote game. But just as far, you know, and just as far as looks go, they weren't anything special. So why were they received with such fervor by young girls? What was going on? I mean, and this is a few years after Elvis. When Elvis happened, I mean, it was different. It was frightening to some people. It was definitely not high class, you know. It was definitely a little bit low and savage, and, you know, like a hunk of burning love kind of thing, you know, like this little country boy who liked to shake his hips. But you understand it more with him. You understand how he could just set off that kind of reaction. Like I said, imagine Elvis again. If Elvis had never been a rock star, imagine Elvis as a Zoomer age Elvis, just on Tinder. I mean, girls would be swiping right on him, no doubt. Not a doubt in the world, in my mind. So what happened there? What am I missing? What changed? Or maybe it's not that things changed, but maybe they found some way to make these, and I guess, you know, like it was like introducing the long hair thing, because the mop top look was actually like that really, from what I'm told, that really stood out in 1962. That really made you look. That was, you know, today it would be absolutely normal on a man, but I mean, like 15 years later, it would have been, you know, normal, even sort of conservative. But at the time, it was sort of like a radical look in some way. I don't know. This is just something my brain vomited forth on the course of my ambulation. So what do y'all think? Leave your comments below.